started snowing, felt better. And then it went back to rain a little bit. So it was just like a good overall day of everything. Like one day I felt like SpongeBob for a minute, right? Then it started snowing. Felt like Frozen. I was like, all right, here we go. Olaf time. Then it went back to raining. So then I felt like SpongeBob, you know what I mean? The Goofy Goober part. When he was drying up, he had a little drop of like that.
Everybody, and welcome back to Run and Gun. I am Evan Lasek.
And I'm Kelly Warner, and we have...
I'm Ryan Lam in a wrong football jersey.
Mr. Ryan Lam is wearing a bright yellow soccer jersey.
Yeah, it's an audio medium, that's why.
Well, this will be his first time joining us on Run and Gun. We're going to catch you up first on the most recent week of sports, or NFL Week 14, where all became right in the world in the NFC East. The Cowboys lost. It's a perfect day on Thursday. You know, the Bears, 31-24, Chicago beats Dallas.
Yeah. The Bears are, I should look up their standings, but
I think
they are good when it's cold. No, I looked. Before this game, I picked the Bears to win because I saw that they are good. They're good against the spread when it's cold. So I went ahead and took it, and I was right.
I would take anybody over Dallas
Go Bears.
right now. Anybody over Dallas, honestly.
Yep. I think that's all you need to say. And, of course, this is important because the NFC East is up for grabs. Luckily for the Cowboys and the Eagles, not for the Redskins anymore.
Poor guys.
Yeah,
Those poor guys. They fought.
Yeah,
so
now
hard.
the Cowboys and Eagles are tied. And it's all going to come down to the Cowboys-Bears. Cowboys-Eagles in
Week
2
16,
weeks.
yeah.
I mean, also looking at, Bears, they're utilizing Mitchell Trubisky way better with obviously running, but then also getting his throws off. I think, for the past 3 games, he's thrown, a huge chunk of his passes under, around 2.5 seconds mark. That's one of the fastest rate in the league, and he has very, very good succession rate in that scenario. Basically almost perfect passing-wise, but then also opening up the options in the running game as well. But then sometimes when you have a guy like Allen Robinson, you just give him the ball and hope he makes plays. And, the Bears claim one over the Cowboys. They're still going to, try to stir up the pot in the NFC North, especially with Vikings and also the Packers very close up top, separated by, I think the Packers are 10-3, Vikings are 9-4, so they're still... They could still be there to mess something up.
They're still applying pressure up there in the North. Mitch Trubisky actually looked like a top 5 draft pick, throwing for 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, then adding a bunch. I think it was 70 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground. He really looked good. He torched the Dallas defense, and Dak Prescott really didn't have an answer for him. The Cowboys as a whole just didn't have an answer for him. Dak finished good, but again, it was a lot of garbage time passing yards. That's kind of Dak's stats this season is just garbage time points that are getting him farther.
Yeah. Cowboys keeping up the streak of not beating anyone with a winning record.
Oh, that's both. That's the whole NFC East, though.
So, the Eagles, you can say what you want, but they've beat people with winning records.
They beat Buffalo. They beat Green Bay. Can't say as much for Dallas right now.
So, next.
We're going to talk Colts and Bucks.
No, they're not worth talking about. Are either of these teams going to the playoffs?
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, the Colts are never out of it. The Titans are really good. But
I hate to say it, but the Colts are out of it.
Yeah.
Because not only do they have, because no matter what, the Steelers have the tiebreaker over the Colts. So the Colts are out. I'm sorry.
I mean, we can say something quick about Jameis Winston having the
most
most Jameis Winston game, the most Jameis Winston game he could possibly have. 450 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. It's how do you do that with those numbers but still suck and only win by 3 points? It's rough. I mean, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are numbers 2 and 3 for receiving yards, so he's got 2 great receivers, but he's just Jameis Winston.
I mean, it kind of proves the downward spiral of the Colts as well. Kind of they were at a good place for a little while, but then, the team just kind of fell apart for some reasons. Also, look at the upper echelon for we talk about the AFC South, it's like perennially like 9-7, 8-8 kind of conference. Yeah. But then the Texans really separated themselves, and ever since Tannehill got on with the Titans, we will probably very briefly mention that later. They've looked very good. Yeah. So it's like there are no you can't contain 3 teams in the playoff race or in the same division actually, apart from maybe NFC West with the Rams still vying for a playoff spot, but just kind of goes to show that the Colts are in a downward spiral, and it's kind of weird because you guys are Philly fans, and Frank Reich can work some magic there.
Frank Reich is good. I mean, you can only do so much when you lose your star QB. I mean, all credit to Jacoby Brissett. He's played amazingly with what he's had. He lost T.Y., so they really don't have any receivers out there to help him. Marlon Mack had a broken hand. It's rough. But we'll talk more about Tannehill and his Titans in a little bit here. Yeah. Right now we got to talk about the Ravens and the Bills. That was a very close game. 24-17, Ravens won that one. I believe solidifying themselves as one of the top seeds in the AFC. And by one of, I mean 1 or 2. They're clearly the best team in the league other than the 49ers. But I think the Ravens are going to finish probably number 1. The Bills were a very tough team, very good competition, and they kind of handled business there.
Yeah, I think that's all there is to say. The Ravens are just rolling, and I think they're just going to keep on rolling all the way through. And, yeah. And the Bills, I think this is actually a kind of a moral victory on the Bills' part, though. They did hold their own, and they still looked good, and hopefully they keep looking good against the Steelers and then the Patriots.
Yeah,
they got a tough way through.
Bills are 9-4. That's a very impressive record for a team that had very low expectations. Josh Allen's really done well there. Their whole defense has done well. They actually made Lamar look at least decently human again. He didn't have those gaudy passing numbers. He still had 3 touchdowns, but not a lot of passing yards. So all credit to the Bills for doing what they were able to do. But it's the Ravens.
It's kind of funny, though, because you have to think about the Bills' offense as well. Of course, sure, Josh Allen's playing well, making smart decisions, but then also, if I'm not mistaken, their leading receiver for the Ravens game has 34 yards.
73. Hayden Hurst, yeah.
Oh no, I mean for the Bills.
Oh, the Bills? Yeah, 30. Knox had 1 catch for 37 yards.
Yeah, 37 yards, and ever since the Miami game, their number 1 target, John Brown, has really fell off with 2 or 3 catches only the past 3 games. So there's something that might affect the Bills later on, especially playing against the defenses of the Steelers and then New England. So that might.
Yeah, we're definitely going to touch on Bills and Steelers more because that's going to be a very exciting game for this upcoming week. We're going to stick to these weeks. We're going to do Lions and Vikings. Nothing really exciting. Lions yet again, crash and burn. David Blow, he tried really hard. But there's nothing you can do. You're the Lions. You're a perennial bad team.
Let's move on to the other team in the NFC North, the Packers. They played the Redskins, and they won, which is not much of a surprise. But the Redskins, they gave them a fight.
Yeah, the score that they won by was actually a surprise, 20-15. Not a lot of yards. Aaron Jones played phenomenal. He had almost 200 total yards of offense with 1 touchdown. But Aaron Jones has kind of became the battle. The Aarons in Green Bay right now are just crazy for them.
Yes.
Really helping.
Yes. Next, the big game this week. Everyone knew it was going to be the big game, and it definitely succeeded in being that. It was the Niners and the Saints.
That was a very exciting game.
I was watching this game, and the Saints were going to pull it right at the end. It was the Saints were coming up. It looked like they were going to steal it, and they needed a touchdown, and they got one. I remember watching that, and my thought was just this is what it's like to watch a good team. This is what happens when your team does what they're supposed to do. I know they didn't end up pulling it out at the end, but just right at the right time, they were rolling down the field and got a touchdown. I was just there's so many teams that can't do that.
Yeah,
including the Eagles. So I was wow, that's what it's like to watch a good team.
Yeah, there was basically it was an all-offense battle. There was, no defense. Jimmy G threw for 4 touchdowns. Drew Brees threw for 5. Emmanuel Sanders has been showing up huge for the 49ers since they acquired him. He had 150 yards, not a catches. That'd be insane. Michael Thomas showed out again, which is nothing new at this point. He's that guy.
You got to talk about that kill play right at the end of the setup 49ers.
It was a 44-yard catch and then a 15-yard face mask. It was on 4th and 2, you gave up a 59 total yard play.
That face mask was just disgusting. I was like, you idiot. Do you not realize? Like, when I was watching that, I was really just sickened that I was like, you're just giving them the first down. Like, the defense isn't worth it anymore.
I think he tried to reach for the ball and just missed and was like, you know
his
what?
hand
I
looked
grabbed
like it was
something.
Caught in his face mask.
He's
That's
trying
how
to rip
clear
out.
that
It was bad.
And he literally carried like both of the guys for
he was like, I'm not
10
doing
yards.
that.
Like, nah, I'm
George
not.
Kittle's a scary dude. I would not want to man up on him because he's going to do that play, and then easily they just kick the field goal right down the middle. But that was an exciting one in New Orleans.
So, yeah, we very well might see a rematch of those two teams.
I'm feeling
in the
NFC
playoffs.
Championship rematch right there.
Another rematch we might see in the playoffs is the Chiefs and the Patriots. So the Chiefs came in to Foxborough and ruined the Patriots' 21-game win streak at home and just solidifying the Patriots' sort of
downfall?
Yeah.
Demise?
I would say cause for concern.
Oh, yeah,
is
Ryan's a Patriots fan.
I wouldn't say downfall
because
because there's teams like I'm sure anybody who's listening who's a fan of any other team honestly knows what it's like to actually have a downfall and a demise. So they don't want to hear you say a 10-3 team is on a demise. So the Patriots, I think we can all agree, are still going to be in the playoffs, still going to be the Patriots. Like, this is not too much concern, but like they definitely, I'd be scared, because they're the Ravens there. Like,
I'm looking over at Ryan and I'm seeing how he's holding in this rant right now. I just want to see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, like, for this team, like, the definition hasn't really been clear. Like, of course, the defense balled out to start, but then the offense kind of, like, never got it going. And you can't expect, like, a unit to maintain its success for that long. But then, like, the problem with this game is that, like, of course, you got to talk about the officiating and everything. Like, I don't want, like, everyone's seen the videos.
Yeah.
Like, you probably come to your own conclusion.
Officiating's been a question this whole season.
And that referee actually, the last time Patriots lost at home in 2017 against the Panthers, I think he was the referee. But, like, that's, of course, Patriots Twitter stuff. But, like, anyways, like, they just never been able to find an identity kind of moving forward.
They're kind of just guessing at this point. They're like, we got Tom. We have a perennial great quarterback of the century, but Tom's got these new guys, like these young guys that he doesn't really have chemistry with. That's why he's only really throwing it to Julian Edelman still.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, with this game, what's special, like, they have created turnovers. Like, even if you discount Gilmore's fumble, which is a fumble, and they have created, like, stuff like block punts and everything like that at home.
Oh, their special teams is outstanding.
Yeah, but, like,
one.
all that combined, and you're still needing, like, a reverse call, so to say, to come back on the Chiefs. Like, that's not how, like, I know we have, like, high expectations as Patriots fans, but, like, that's not, like, how it should be. Like, that's not how the Patriots should win.
Yeah.
Like, they should be, like, in control instead of having
they
to rely on those.
They should never be trailing.
Yeah. Like, relying on those, like, big, like, percentage-wise, like, low probability plays.
Yeah, like, right now, their whole season has been the defense just making stops, giving them great field position, special teams, blocking punts, returning them for touchdowns, whatever it is. And it's just looking like Tom's kind of, not kind of, he's definitely slowed down out there. His age is showing.
Mm-hmm. But that all being said, like we said before, I think they're still going to be.
I mean, 10-3.
They're still going to be the
fine.
Patriots in the playoffs too. Like,
they always are.
No team in the AFC is like, oh, well, those are just the Patriots. Like, no one's like, wow, the Patriots are on a downfall. No need to worry about them. Like
I'm
that's
looking,
not on anyone's mind.
Their leading rusher was
James
concerned. White, which is really weird, honestly, to me, because you have a guy like I can't remember his name right now. Sony Michel only had 5 carries. And Sony Michel's a guy who led the playoffs in rushing last year. He only had 5 carries. And I think that's ridiculous because it's clear when you run the ball, you're in control and you just keep putting on yards. You have a great O-line like that. You have a bunch of great running backs. You just got to keep feeding the guys the ball.
And against the Saints, against the Chiefs as well, which is one of the worst like run defenses in the league. But then people talk about a lot of stuff with like moving pieces in a line. I think like David Andrews really hurt them, like losing him for the season. Like looking at the protection, but then like it happens. Like the Patriots have been good. Like this is bound to happen. Just like a regression to still not a mean. They're like 10-3, but like, this year is just not their year.
Yeah, Belichick is definitely still relying on Brady a lot, and I think he should just leave it in the hands of the younger guys, the playmakers, the runners. That's where Brady finds success, when you run the ball so many times per game and then you play action. You find Julian Edelman deep. You find anything like that. That's how you play football. I don't know why he threw the ball 36 times and only ran the ball a total of 22. That was bizarre to me.
So next we have another AFC matchup, a little less sexy than maybe that last one, but the Titans and the Raiders. This was important for the Titans for a lot of reasons, because this put them in perfect position to not only make the playoffs, but to possibly take over the entire division. Because on the other hand, the Texans also got a loss. So the Texans and Titans are tied, I believe, 8-7.
8-5.
8-5. Yeah, not yet, but
yeah, but like very quickly, I have to talk about like how do you let Drew Lock drop 21 on you to start the game and having to come back from that hole. Like I don't understand what's wrong with the Texans, especially
Drew Lock looks good actually.
Especially
with
especially with the display they put up against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
But like
the real question here is how do the Patriots feel now?
Now back to our regularly scheduled programming of the Tennessee Titans and the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, so the Titans are in this perfect spot. They surprisingly have won. They're here. They have not played. The Texans and Titans have to play twice, so there's no tiebreakers.
They still have to play twice?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
That is the big. We're going to get to that. But right now we're talking about the Raiders.
This is just another game of Ryan Tannehill showing that he should have been the starter the whole time. That Mariota was clearly not the guy. Not a good passer. Tannehill threw for 3 touchdowns on 21 of 27 passing and 391 yards with 1 pick.
The Raiders were also in, they were my pick earlier. I thought they were the other wild card. I honestly thought maybe they could edge out the Steelers and be the wild card. But then they showed their true colors against the Chiefs.
Yeah, huge drop off.
And then this game. So they're out. They're done.
Huge drop off.
And also the Raiders are not really balanced. They never have a marquee running back, a number one staple running back. They've been kind of
Jacobs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jacobs didn't carry the ball a lot though, which was odd.
They have Richard and Washington, Jacobs, but never not one of them established themselves.
I think Jacobs missed the game.
Yeah, I think he was out for that game. But then also looking at the other side, Derrick Henry, 4th straight 100-yard game. 188 against Kansas City, 159 against Jacksonville, 149 against Indiana. And
what's his total on the year for rushing yards?
This game he slowed down a little bit, only 103, but his total rushing yards this season is at 1,243 already and 13 touchdowns.
Wow. So they changed the offense over there in Tennessee. They recognized that Derrick Henry was a dangerous guy to hand the ball off to. And they used that to their advantage. That's something the old coach didn't do. I forget his name, but Mike Vrabel's really used Derrick Henry to his advantage, used a pocket passer QB, and it's just made them so much better. He's using a much better system for his offense, and it's making them a dangerous team very clearly. Winning 42-21, that's a very good score, and hopefully I don't know if they'll be able to go into the playoffs. It depends on these 2 games against the Texans, because I think the Steelers have a also pretty difficult schedule. They play the Ravens, they play the Bills still. So the Steelers do not have the easiest schedule, but the Titans don't either. They have to play the division leaders twice. Now we'll talk about the Seahawks and Rams that was the Monday night game. The Rams won, of course, 25-12. Seahawks did not look good. Jared Goff didn't look that great either, though.
I am so tired of the Rams. All season, the Rams have liked to screw me over, to say it best. And because I've been picking games all season, and the Rams just like to be good when I don't pick them and be bad when I do. And it's just I can't win with them anymore. So I got to a point when I was done. I was done picking Rams games. Just didn't do it anymore. And here they are. They're not sticking the knife in my heart the last time because I think that will be next week when they play the Cowboys.
They're gonna let us down there.
Right? I'm like really. I just
the one time we really.
The Rams
need
are probably
them.
gonna screw the knife into my back here. But anyways,
big news from MVP contender Russell Wilson had a terrible game.
It was just bad for the Seahawks.
No touchdown pass. He
A
snapped a
shocker.
record of I think it was 18 straight games with a passing touchdown. So he threw none on Monday, snapping that streak, and didn't look like an MVP, which is a real bummer to him. Kind of takes him out of contention there.
So I want to know what you guys think. Are the Seahawks? Are we concerned about the Seahawks a lot, or do we think this was a blip? Because I think every team has a blip. Like, they have their mistake.
Yeah, I think
game.
this was a blip.
Because did the Seahawks? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think right off the top of my head. Have the Seahawks had like a bad loss yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
They have a really strange loss earlier in the season, but then that's like really early in the season. They played the Bengals really close, 21-20 victory. Dropped one to the Saints.
But that's not. Yeah.
The Ravens
the
beat them.
Ravens beat them pretty bad.
Okay.
That was it.
But
Yeah.
see, those are all normal.
The Rams should have beaten the Seahawks the first time they played too, but Greg the Leg missed a 35-yard field goal.
See, okay, but those are all fairly normal.
Yeah.
Every team, like if you go through the Niners, like the Niners barely beat the Redskins. Like everybody has those games. The Packers lost the Chargers. Like everyone has one. And so I think this is a bad time to have that for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is not too much of a hit yet. I think they still hold. They may have lost their top division spot, but that could still be taken back. And I think they're pretty shoo-in for the wild card either way.
Yeah,
so
I think Russ is still. I think they're still a great team. Everybody has that one game where they're like, "Well, what happened? Something didn't click," and it's usually in a primetime game, nonetheless.
Can we talk about this though? Like for the Seahawks, if the game itself isn't weird, is it a Seahawks game though? Like every single Seahawks game, you feel like something's fishy, something's going on. Like they played some of the weirdest games.
I mean, they lost Rashad Penny, so he lost their new running back. Like he's not new, but he's new for them because he just came out of nowhere these past few games. They're like, whoa, this kid can actually run, and like. That's something they had, but then they took it away. They had to rely on Chris Carson the whole game. And running against the Rams is no easy task. Throwing against the Rams is no easy task just because of the fact that you have Aaron Donald in your face constantly.
You have Jalen Ramsey. Draping on your number one
Tyler
receiver.
Lockett was I believe Tyler Lockett was quiet the whole game. Like DK Metcalf was their leading receiver, and it was just a poor showing. Jared Goff, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's kind of been his season, like pick. But Gurley actually had 23 carries, so he was a workhorse today. Didn't have over 100 yards, so the game was pretty difficult, but it's one that I think should have been a lot closer. Now we're going to touch on the rest of the games real quick just so you get the score. Broncos beat the Texans 38-24 in an offensive showing for Deshaun Watson. He threw 2 picks, but he had a lot of rushing. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, a good bit of yards. Drew Lock goes 2-0 in his first 2 appearances, so good for the Rook.
Like we said, the Vikings beat the Lions 20-7. That was just routine.
Routine.
The Browns beat the Bengals 27-19.
Hopefully that was routine. Yeah.
Battle for Ohio over there. No, I don't think anyone really wants to win Ohio.
No.
The Panthers beat the Falcons beat the Panthers 40-20.
Yeah, first game without Ron
officially
Rivera.
out,
Yeah,
which just is
first game with no Rivera did not look good.
Younghoe Koo is a go.
Yes, Younghoe Koo.
Covers a fumble.
Jets just barely beat the Dolphins. That's
on
just garbage, playing garbage.
7 Jason Sanders field goals. I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, they scored 21 points. They got 3 touchdowns. No, he kicked 7 field goals. Could you imagine if you finished 7, like at least 2 of those drives with touchdowns instead of field goals?
Something funny about this game, and there's other games like this too. It's just like these teams not realize that they're done? Like,
just
what are
lose
you
it.
fighting for anymore?
It's like you have to realize if you're like the Dolphins, you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like
winning
whenever
these
the Dolphins
games?
are playing the Eagles, like trying so hard, I was just like, dude, can you just
It's
get
like,
what do you want?
clearly want
What
the first.
do you want?
Your freaking quarterback is Ryan Fitzpatrick right
Yeah,
now.
like I don't know. Like, do you not realize losing is actually winning for you?
It really is.
The Chargers beat the Jags 45-10.
Gardner Minshew's gone downhill, but
Yeah, well, the Jags.
I don't know
just-
what they're doing over there.
No. The Steelers beat the Cardinals 23-17.
That was an exciting game.
A
Duck
nice-
season, quack quack.
A
Keep
nice
on
win
quacking
for the
Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
Love to see
They
it.
need that. And then there was the Monday night game, the Eagles and the Giants. Just the NFC East is complete garbage. But the Eagles decided to learn how to play right at the end.
Go Birds.
Classic Eagles.
This has been the best that Carson Wentz has looked. Not in the first half. Second
Well,
half was the best that Carson Wentz has looked.
We
the
can
whole
just hope,
season.
and I mean emphasis on hope because there's not a lot of confidence in this, but like we can just hope that this means that they will just get better from here.
Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey's out for the season. Whip, ha. That means the Eagles have three current healthy receivers, but Greg Ward got hurt on Monday night, so JJ Arcega-Whiteside was the only healthy receiver on the Eagles roster.
And now you can't resign Jordan Matthews because he
Can't
signed with the
resign.
49ers.
Yep, went back to the 49ers. So I think they did that intentionally. But the three tight ends were actually working very well for him because he loves throwing to tight ends. He just needs guys who are going to fight for him. I think, Kelly, did you say that?
Oh, yes. Okay, so I saw something that I was like, you're completely right, and it was just that saying the Eagles need to do what the Seahawks did and just get rid of people who aren't willing to go to war with Wentz. And I'm with that. Like, you need to just that's what I thought the Eagles' problem was this whole season. It just seemed like ever since like the beginning of the season, like before the season even started, I want to say, when there was all that stuff about people in the
Alshon
locker
and
room
Carson,
talking
like,
bad about Wentz and blah,
You
blah,
got
blah.
to get rid of him.
Like,
That's your guy.
I think when I look back at that 2017 season, the Super Bowl, all I think is like, I know that team played like a team.
Yeah.
And that's
they're
what
having
cooked
fun.
them so far. So
The whole defense, like, they love playing with each other. You can see it, but they just struggle. But they get through the struggles together.
yeah, players, I don't know what your problem
The
is.
whole offense
Most of
is
it
just
is
the
that you
problem.
can't catch. So I don't know who you're judging because a lot of
Now, I give all credit to Greg Ward for what he's done. Like he was a favorite target of Wentz that game. He dropped that one wide open in the end
it was
zone.
the new guys who look like they want to play for the Eagles.
They
That's
were
what it
trying.
was.
They were trying. They were fighting for a roster spot. They're
Yeah.
like, please keep
I
me
think
here.
these those big name receivers, if you want to even call them that, the biggest names the
They
Eagles
play for
have.
themselves.
Yeah, and then they just want to be all upset. When I'm like, if you look at those past games, Wentz has had his issues.
Mm-hmm.
But most of these balls, how many balls can you look back on that were right there between people's hands?
Yeah.
And they didn't catch them. So I just think you stop playing the blame game unless you're blaming yourself. Because everyone on the team should blame themselves
Right now, yeah.
and work together to fix the problem.
I heard the captains of the Eagles had a meeting. They all got together. They were like, we control our own fate. We got to play together. We got to be a team. And it actually looked like it in the second half. They looked good. The defense shut out the Giants, and it was a very touching moment for Eli Manning. Like they all like gave him a handshake after the end. They were glad to play with him. Poor Eli though he now has a career record of I think 116 and 117. That's pretty upsetting for him. But
the Eagles they have a lot of issues.
Clearly.
But that being said, that still doesn't explain the way they've played in most of these games.
They got
like,
an old
you have
team.
your issues, you have your injuries, you have your no secondary. There's things like that. But that all being said, there's still a lot of stuff that I'm like,
Ronald Darby.
There's no way to explain that. There's no excuse for a lot of things they have done. But we'll get back to the Eagles.
Ronald Darby, you look
eventually.
like absolute trash in that game. Just giving up way too many catches, way too many touchdowns.
I can say that about so many people.
Jalen Mills looked good. Sidney Jones played decent. Kudos to the Giants on probably the steal of the draft because of Darius Slayton. Like, I think he was a fourth-round receiver. He was a steal. This dude has been playing lights out for you so far. So shout out there.
I have a proposal. Would it be better for the Eagles if they swapped their balls into babies so like they could catch them?
Catching baby. He out here catching babies unlike Aguilar's mishaps. I love that. That's like the most relatable
Philadelphia.
Most relatable video for this season for them.
Okay, so we're just going to look ahead to this week And there's a lot of games, but there's a lot of games that don't matter since we're in that playoff time where people are still playing even though they have nothing to play for except for picks. So we're just going to talk about the 2, maybe 3 games that are important here. And one of them is the Texans-Titans, the first of the 2 that they will play against each other. And this is a big deal because, yeah, it's just like whoever wins these games. But there's 2. So, I mean, it's like you either, I don't know if you split them 1-1, you split them 2-2, but then it's like those 2 teams, the last 3 games matter to the most, I think I would say. And maybe the Eagles, Cowboys too, but right now we're talking about them.
Tannehill is going to need to do what he's been doing against a tough Texans team.
This one is
the Texans'
in
defense is very questionable, but with Deshaun Watson, you should be able to take care of the problem. You should be able to handle business. But so far, Deshaun hasn't been able to handle business in crunch time against tough opponents, even against like tough defenses. He can't. It looks like he's not that MVP caliber. He has 24 touchdowns, 9 picks, and he's rated as like the top 5 QB in the league.
Which I just chalk that up to being how many good QBs are there? Yeah, because Deshaun Watson. The Texans, like when the Texans lost to the Broncos, I was like, dang. But at the same time, I wasn't even surprised because that's kind of the way the Texans are.
Yeah.
Like they are a good team, but at the same time, like, I don't know.
They're very like riverboaty, you know.
Yeah. It's just like I definitely wouldn't say. I don't know. I wouldn't have a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson, like great guy, but I don't know what's going on. I mean, he's been protected better. Like Laramie Tunsil coming over this like week 1, that helped him a lot on the blind side. So he's not getting sacked as much, but
at least he doesn't have a punctured lung.
That it could be that too. But I think this is gonna be a really exciting game. This will be part 1 of deciding the conference, depending on how the third game for both of them go. They play each other twice. So
who do we pick for this one?
I'm gonna go with Texans here.
All right, Ryan.
Who's at home?
Titans.
Titans. I like how they're balanced and Tannehill's look good, and we all know Tannehill can work some magic, especially in his matchups against the Patriots at Miami.
Yeah, Tennessee's being given -3 for this game, so they are the favorites.
You said the
Tennessee is the favorite,
okay.
right? Yeah.
I will say a prediction I am confident in is I think that they will split these 2 matchups 1-1.
Oh boy, that's making playoffs
but
way too difficult.
For
way too
this
difficult.
one, I'm going Titans.
All right, I can get on board with that. Makes sense. But
like I said, I could be wrong. This one could be the Texans, the next one could be the Titans, but I do think they'll go.
They're splitting 1-1.
Okay, then
that's a safe bet.
This one doesn't need to be discussed too in length, but I don't know. The Eagles play the Redskins, which is a big deal just because the NFC East is still up for grabs. That every win counts.
With the Redskins playing the Packers last week, playing them really tight, playing a good football game against them.
I am not.
I'm not.
Confident.
I'm not taking this one lightly at all.
No, because the Redskins should stop and take a break, but no, they seem like they're still fighting. And the Eagles, I don't know how they will look.
It's not going to be
I'm
pretty.
just saying Eagles need to win.
I said Case Keenum. Dwayne Haskins is going to be, I think he's going to be coming into his own. He has been. He's looked a lot better than he did at the beginning of the season. Not great, not good by any standards, but better. So he's improving weekly, and it's going to be a difficult game for them, but it's one Philadelphia expects to win. Then again, they expect the Philadelphia to win against Miami. So
yeah, so this just is another example of having no faith in the Eagles. But
none,
I think the Eagles
none whatsoever
like to torture us, and so they're going to go to the playoffs so they can do it one extra time.
Yeah, give everybody.
In other news of better teams, the Bills play the Steelers, which is a huge deal.
I'm so excited for this game.
This is a huge deal because these, I think, are the wild card teams. I think these two are the wild card teams.
That's all you got to say.
You think the Steelers?
I'm quacking all the way.
Well,
I am high on
Bills.
Duck Hodges.
I am high on the Bills.
I've wanted Duck Hodges to play the whole season. I haven't not the whole season, probably since week 8 maybe, but I was never a big fan of Mason Rudolph. I thought he sucked. I still think he sucks.
I agree.
But Duck Hodges has that. he has that something like we were talking about before with the Eagles. He's playing for something. He wants to play for a team. He wants to make a roster. So he's just out here slinging the ball. James Conner practiced this week. Juju Smith practiced this week. They're not cleared to play in the game, but they're both practicing. So if you get those two guys back, that makes this game so much more in favor for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't think it's even going to, like, it might be close, but then I'm very, very firm on the Steelers winning. Just because, like, when you think about it, like, even for the Bills, we talk about, like, kind of like the lack of passing game they have, especially last game against the Ravens. Given Ravens, very good defense, but, like, they don't even have, like, that established of a passing game. And look at that Steelers secondary. That is scary.
The whole Steelers defense is scary.
Yeah, especially, like,
Devin Bush, TJ Watt. Ooh.
Fitzpatrick changed everything for them. So, like, I don't think, like, that's... I think the Steelers is going to win pretty comfortably. Maybe the score says otherwise, but, like, I'm pretty confident in the Steelers this time around.
One thing I really liked was down in Arizona. It was a sea of black and gold for Pittsburgh. They just owned that place. They had a guy on Kyler Murray all the time. They lead the league in sacks with 48 total. I think Josh Allen's going to have a black helmet right in his face every single time.
I do see that, but I'm just for the sake of devil's advocate, I'm going Bills. Go Bills.
Go Steelers.
But
all right,
I will say the Steelers. Just like last note, that I think this is a little more of a must-win for the Steelers since their other two games, I believe, are the
Ravens.
The Ravens and the.
They play Ravens week 7, Jets.
Okay, never mind.
So,
The Bills is the tough one. So the Jets, they have one. But Steelers. This is an evenly must.
Yeah.
Actually, this is my point. It's the opposite. I would say that it's more of a must-win for the Bills, if not equal, because both of these teams have the Jets.
Yeah,
that's an easy win.
That's an easy
so
one.
basically, we'll see who pulls out this one, and that is big. Let's run through this week's games. You want to do quick picks?
All right, Jets play the Ravens. Who we got?
Ravens.
Right. Jets. What do you mean not Ravens? Bears, Packers.
Packers. I think the Ravens. I will say, I do think the Bears
they look better.
I want to say that they'll be more competitive, but that I want to also a caveat to that though is the Bears were competitive in their last few. That I'm like, when are they going to stop?
Yeah, after a tough one like that, I'm going Packers.
Well, yeah, I have no question that the Packers will win. I just wonder if the Bears will look a little more competitive.
Hopefully.
Packers, but like by 3, by one possession, basically.
Ryan knows what I'm saying.
Bengals, Pats. Is that a bye week for the Patriots again?
Patriots.
Jesus, Murphy. Patriots all the way.
Seahawks, Panthers, and go Seahawks. The Panthers don't have anything to play for, and the Panthers look like
at all.
Garbage.
Yeah. I expect McCaffrey to have a big day, though.
Yeah, Seahawks not even close.
Dolphins, Giants, toilet bowl of the week.
Yeah.
That's actually a tough one.
I'm going to say Giants, honestly.
I'm going to go with Dolphins.
It is tough because both these teams have done an equal amount of looking good even though they're losing. But also
I was going the other way.
Well, you know what I mean? I'm just saying they've both were competitive in their last few.
Did we do picks for Eagles, Redskins? Eagles. Going Eagles.
Yeah, I do think the Eagles.
It's going to upset me when they lose, but going Eagles.
Yeah, it's going to be Eagles.
Broncos, Chiefs. I'm saying Broncos.
Ooh. You think the Broncos will do it again?
At Kansas City?
I'm saying Broncos. I think this defense
is
outstanding.
Tough. I'm actually thinking about it.
Because Drew Lock has looked phenomenal. Their defense, Von Miller's been shutting down. Their whole defense has been playing good.
It's also going to be a trap game because Kansas City will be coming off that high against New
They're
York.
like, we beat the Patriots.
And they did clinch already.
Yeah.
The Chiefs did. So, I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's a close game. But I'm going to go, I'll go Chiefs. I'll be safe and say Chiefs.
Going Denver. Ryan, who'd you pick?
Chiefs. That's a safer pick. Might push. Denver might actually get.
But I call close game.
Yeah. Might be a push. I think the Chiefs obviously favored.
Oh, they're giving KC negative 9.5.
Oh my God, 9.5. Yeah, take the Broncos with that then. If the line's 9.5.
I'm saying a field goal game. Bucks Lions.
Bucks Lions. I'm gonna go Bucks.
Bucks.
But also just does not matter.
No, that's a boring game.
Without Mike Evans.
Chris Godwin. Come on. I'm still.
The Lions are just bad.
The Lions are indeed very bad.
Browns, Cards, Browns.
I'm gonna go.
Cardinals look good against Pittsburgh, but
just for the sake of it, let's go Cardinals.
This will be fun because last time this happened, Baker Mayfield playing against Cliff Kingsbury, Oklahoma,
yeah.
Texas Tech, 60,
I haven't thought
55.
about that, yeah.
I
Yeah,
hope
of
this
course
is as fun.
Of course, he had Pat Mahomes as his QB, but
I
Kyler
hope-
Murray's
yeah.
still dangerous.
I hope this is
no
as
Pat Mahomes, but he's still
I
dangerous.
hope this is as fun, but I think the safe choice will be Browns here because the Cardinals are also in that semi like, yeah, we might just let this slide, like time.
All right, Jacksonville, Oakland.
I'm gonna go Raiders because as bad
Mm.
as the Raiders have looked, they've looked better than the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean Gardner Minshew, he's had a rough few weeks. The Jaguars itself they started off so strong, which was great for them, but then something just fell apart. I'm gonna go. I think you got to go Raiders here.
Yep. Ryan.
Jags, Raiders.
Raiders, because like the Jags are just stuck in the middle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
both teams are at this
Vikings
point.
Chargers. This is gonna be good. I think the Chargers.
I'd like to see the Chargers win this.
I think they could. I think it is possible.
But last
gonna
time Phillip
pick the
Rivers played a
Vikings,
real
though.
team, they like got rolled over.
I think it will be the Vikings. I'm just saying. Like I kind
I
of
think-
hope it will be fun.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are much
Depends
better.
on which Chargers.
You
show
you
up.
see the San Diego, not San Diego. I still say San Diego after 2 or
It's
3
totally
years.
okay.
But the Chargers O line is just so bad, and Phillip Rivers is bad when there's pressure. Like last time he threw 3 or 4 picks. So I want to say Chargers. I just want them to beat the Vikings, but you got to go Minnesota here.
Yeah, I gotta go with what you think.
Minnesota. I just want like the NFC Northeast to North race to be fun,
Mm-hmm.
and like
I don't think you have to worry about that.
yeah, but like yeah, I don't think like the Chargers could handle them like as of right now.
All right, probably one of the bigger games, Rams and Cowboys.
Oh yeah, this is important as well. I didn't even mention this with the Eagles, Redskins. God, please Rams, please.
Please, Rams.
Why
Everybody.
break the streak? You know, the
Like-
Cowboys have a streak of not beating any winning teams. Rams, don't be that team.
I just want
Don't do it.
Jared Goff. If you look,
And I honestly,
decent.
I'm gonna do it. I've made the mistake, but I'm going to do it. Rams, I believe in you. You are the better team. You are the better team. You can do it. Go Rams.
All right, let's not go that far. But they are the better team. Let's not go that far.
The thing is also that like
I didn't say they were a good team. I said they were the better team.
like Kelly, the thing is also that you've been saying how disgusted you are about the Rams
Absolutely.
for a few years. And now you do the
Not a few
turn of the
years.
tide.
I haven't had to worry about them before because the Eagles had beaten them and then went to the Super Bowl.
But I think if you lock down Amari Cooper, you can clearly see that Dak Prescott has nobody to throw to.
I know. I would not pick. Trust me, I would not pick the Rams here if I didn't think it. But I just think the Cowboys I don't know how they're gonna get it together out of nowhere in one game. It is in Jerry World, but that's like the only thing I think matters
Yeah.
in their case. I don't know what the Cowboys can do to fix
All right.
it.
Falcons, 49ers. Falcons are kind of actually on a roll.
But which Falcons will show up?
That
I think
That's a
the
tough
Niners
call.
have had a thing about, other than that Packers game, which came out of nowhere, the Niners have played teams pretty close. So I think they will play close. But I think the Niners pull it out.
I love the 49ers this season. I think they're
Yeah.
one of the,
The Niners win.
other than the Ravens, I think they're the best football team in the NFL. So I'm going 49ers here.
As much as Young Wei Koo is our Asian savior, not Taylor Rapp, but Young Wei Koo, I'll have to say
Where's Rat play? He's a safety for some.
Rams.
Rams, that's who I thought. All right.
I have to pick the 49ers here. 49ers are a team that I
Then
like. Of
Colts,
course, got that
Saints.
Jimmy G connection, but yeah, easy pick here.
Colts, Saints.
Saints.
Easy
Saints.
money.
All right. And now we have to do we're going to wrap it up. Well, I mean, we have some time, but I'm just saying, like, our last thing is playoff predictions. And so first, I think a way to do this is let's start and just kind of, there's a couple teams that we know are shoo-ins here. And I
Yeah,
think
we'll start with the clinched ones, which are the Saints, Ravens, and
Chiefs.
Yes.
They are shoo-ins, so we
They
know
won
they're
their
going to be
division
there.
already.
So the conversation there is
well, the
on
49ers.
seed.
We're not the. Why did I say 49ers? The Ravens won their division, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And they are current for top seed. So yeah, what they're fighting for there is the seeds, but it is all about the wild card race and the AFC West.
No, West is done.
Yeah. The
AFC
Chiefs
West
won
is-
there.
I had to, you heard me question the South.
South.
Yeah, the
yeah,
AFC
10,
South, yeah.
Yeah.
Titans and Houston.
And actually, the Patriots and Bills, too, are fighting for a AFC East division title.
This is true, but I don't know if you guys will agree. I would like to see it differently, but I do think the Patriots they have the crown.
Yeah.
It's just gonna.
It's gonna happen. The Bills are not gonna be able to pull it out, even though the Patriots don't look nearly as good as they should be.
Do you guys still see Patriots as top 2 seed?
Ooh, I know the Ravens will be. I know they will be there.
Yeah. So I just wonder.
What are the Chiefs' record? The Chiefs have the tiebreaker. I would honestly give the Chiefs over the Patriots at this point.
But then when you look at it, the Patriots, apart from the Bills, have the Bengals and the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's. I would say if they're not the better team, but yeah, they're just. I don't see them losing those games. Even
Chiefs
if
are
they
9 Chiefs are 9-4.
Yeah,
Patriots 10-3.
And with the Patriots end of season schedule, then it's just going to be
and I don't
impossible
see,
for the Chiefs.
and I
to
don't
clinch
see the
1-1.
Bills. I don't see the Bills winning out either.
They could very easily drop 2 games.
They're going to drop
and Pats.
the Steelers.
Yeah,
and
so
Pats,
I'm saying let's just say even if the Patriots lost the Bills,
Mhm.
I don't think that will end up mattering.
No, because they'll still finish 12-4.
Yeah, that would be 12-4, and Chiefs are at 9-4 right now, so they have to win out.
Yeah, I like their odds. I like the Patriots' odds too.
Yeah, I think so.
The Patriots' odds are pretty solid to win this game.
And it's at Foxborough too. So
Yeah,
sorry. Good luck.
That's a difficult place to play.
So then, the Ravens have a pretty easy schedule going forward. They'll probably keep their top.
So the
seed.
Ravens, we're saying Ravens are 1.
Yes,
Patriots are going to be 2.
I think so. The
Chiefs are 3.
For sure.
Chiefs are 3.
So then we have number 4 is either going to be the Texans or the Titans. So the Texans' last games, they play at the Titans, and then they play the Buccaneers, and then they play the Titans at home. The Titans, on the other side, play the Texans, the Saints, and the Texans.
I'm going Texans.
I'm going Texans easy, just because.
The
Say if we
Saints-
to be fair, split the games between the two teams.
Titans
Saints.
still lose 2.
Saints.
The Titans
Yeah.
still lose 2 there. The Texans win
I
2.
think that no matter what, the Titans are going to end up with a 2 loss. So but I think, and then my other prediction there is because then we get down to the wild card spots, and I think the Bills take a wild card spot. I don't think that's really in question.
I'm going Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's getting the 5 seed. They'll beat the Bills, so they'll beat them out for the 5. And I think Buffalo will take the 6 because they'll still finish strong. They'll finish better than.
Yeah.
Oh, but I don't know because the Bills would also be dropping 2.
No,
but the
then-
Bills already have a better record than them.
Yeah, but then looking at it, the Steelers might be able to steal one from the Ravens because it will be week 17.
They already clinched week
Yeah.
17. Lamar's going to be benched.
That is a good thought. I did not consider that.
Chase McSorley time, baby.
But
Nah, it's actually RG3.
RG3, yeah, I know.
It's kind of a bummer, actually, that they don't have McSorley as their backup.
yeah,
I'm going Steelers
I
at
think
5.
Steelers, but definitely the
I think
Titans
Bills
end
are
up not
6.
making the playoffs because
Yeah, because Texans and Saints,
I
even if
put-
they split 1, they're dropping 2 games, and
when
the
I
Bills
made,
already have 1 more win than them. If the Bills drop 2 and the Titans drop 2,
Yeah.
then
when I
they'll still
made a
make it.
bracket, I put the Bills number 5 and the Steelers number 6, but I could see it going either way.
yeah,
But just I know those 2 teams are the wild card teams.
both win against the Jets. So good job, guys. We're giving you that.
Yeah.
But then, the thing is that I kind of want the Titans to make it because, of course, we've seen how good they are if they're good. And then, Derrick Henry in the playoffs.
I'd love to see that.
I think he had one of those monster games in the playoffs as well.
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken, a year or 2 ago.
All right, so that would make 1 and 2 would get the bye. So Patriots and Ravens would not play anybody during the wild card. The 3, which are the Chiefs, would be playing the 6, who is the Bills at that time, and the 4 would be playing the number 5 Steelers. Who's number 4? Oh, the Texans would be playing the Steelers.
Yeah, so
in
it's
Houston.
either Chiefs, Bills, or Chiefs, Steelers, or Texans, Bills, or Steelers, Texans.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, so either way,
All I'm giving.
Do you see either of these wild card teams moving on to the next round?
If the Steelers whoever plays the Texans, I think.
You think those wild card
I think
teams
if the
are better?
Steelers play the Texans, the Steelers will win. But if the Texans play the Bills, the Texans will win. If that makes sense.
So
I feel like
don't believe in the Bills.
I think the Steelers' defense is just that good.
I think but I think if the Chiefs played the Steelers, the
Plus,
Chiefs
like,
will win.
you look at it, the Steelers quarterbacks who run, they play very good against them. When they played Lamar earlier in the season, they made Lamar throw 3 interceptions, sacked him a whole bunch, did not have a lot of yards. That was the most human Lamar has looked all season. I give all credit to the Steelers defense. I think they will carry them through the rest of the season in playoffs.
I think whoever the Chiefs play, I think the Chiefs are locked in to play New England in the semifinals, conference semifinals. But then it's just of course, a little bit of mental gymnastics trying to figure out where teams goes.
Mm.
But then say Texans, Bills, Steelers, very distinct matchups. It's pretty hard to predict, but I like the Steelers just because they're the hot hand, and you really never know. But then also Duck Hodges, first time in the playoffs, it's something different.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of these guys' first time in the playoffs. They're all very young. They're a very young team.
I'm with you though. I think whoever plays the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are the shoe win there.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Steelers
and then
or
the Chiefs
Bills.
will have to play the
But
Ravens
the Texans,
again.
I think I don't know. But I think the only thing because I would agree with you on your point about the Steelers being the hot hand. And I also usually count the Steelers in as one of the teams where I'm like, you can't count them out in the playoffs. I've always said that. Here they are even in the playoffs with a third-string quarterback. But I do think the playoffs are a different beast in itself. I don't know if
Pittsburgh plays the Patriots right now, it's going to be a lot closer than Week 1, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll throw it over to the NFC playoff picture now.
This is where it gets messy.
Very confusing
because
so
I
far.
Think, aside from who gets in, I think the real competition here is who's what seed here in the NFC.
So none of this is set in stone because of the Seahawks being so good in the NFC West. The 49ers beating the Saints makes the 49ers the number 1 seed currently, with the Saints right behind them at number 2, the Packers at number 3, and currently the Cowboys are at number 4. How much of this sticks? Nobody knows.
I don't know. Let's just look at those top 3: the Niners, Saints, and Packers.
Yeah,
and
eliminate the NFC East.
And we'll
the NFC East
we'll
gets number 4 no matter what.
We'll throw the Seahawks in because they might be. So I just want to look at these last few games and see what we think. So starting with the first seed, the Niners, they play the Falcons, and I think that's kind of a win there. And then they play the Rams, which I'd also say is a win.
I think the 49ers can win out, honestly.
I've said I think
Seattle,
I can see
at Seattle.
At
I want to say,
Seattle.
aside from at Seattle, I just got this thing with the Falcons that I can see them dropping one. I just do.
I think the 49ers handle the Falcons easily. They handle the Rams easily.
I know. I think they should, but just stranger things have happened.
And then if they win 2, they clinch a playoff. And when they clinch a playoff, I think
what's a little worrisome, I think, for the Niners is the Seahawks play the Panthers and the Cardinals, which is arguably easier, I'd say, than the Falcons and Rams. Which the Seahawks, they did play, they did just have a game like they did on Sunday night.
Yeah.
So we could see. But I'm saying, I do think that this is it's going to come down to that last game between those two.
The Seahawks struggle against good running backs, and they're playing Christian McCaffrey. Now, while the rest of the Panthers team is not good, McCaffrey's I think he's gonna have a heck of a day.
This is a hard one, but I feel like 49ers I think 49ers is the more stable team. That's
I think so.
my point of view right now.
I spent hours on Monday going back and forth between the Niners and Seahawks. I don't know what to think.
But then I want to explore this possibility. I know probably overstepping a little bit here, looking forward a little too far, but can 3 NFC West teams make the playoffs?
I say no. I don't think the Rams have a chance at all.
I think the Rams are 1 win behind the Vikings.
And I just think the Vikings are better, and I think the Vikings, honestly, I'd say the Vikings are a shoo-in.
I think the Vikings are a lot better than the Rams currently. But you never know. Do we know who the Vikings play for the rest of the?
Yeah, so the Vikings have a pretty not so bad wrap up. Damn, of course I left them out.
It.
They play the Packers, which is rough, but I think other than that, they have a pretty easy way out. It's the
Chargers at LA, but then so home field advantage to the Vikings. At home against Packers, at home against Bears.
So 3 home games for them, basically.
Yeah, and so that Packers game will be tough. But see actually,
maybe if the Bears by then, like if the Bears win 2 games in a row, they'll be actually competing, and I think it'd be a lot
but
closer.
At the same time, they're not a team that I can see winning like 3-4 games in a row.
Yeah.
So that's when I get to the point when I'm like, Bears have to drop one somewhere.
The Bears have the Packers and the Chiefs next 2 weeks. They're not going to win 2 in a row.
Okay, yeah, no, the Bears are going to lose.
Yeah, so the Vikings are
9-4.
They're 9-4. They are 9-4. So actually, we could see ourselves in a situation where the Packers and Vikings are fighting for the North.
I'd like to see.
Because
I'd like to
the
see
Packers play the Bears, the Vikings, and the Lions. So I just want to say, I think the Vikings and Packers have similar end of the year standings, and it's really going to come down to that game between them.
Yeah, I think the Rams do miss the playoffs this year.
As much as I'm kind of throwing it out there, I'm still pretty sure the NFC wildcard spots would be the number 2 team in the West and the number 2 team in the North.
I think that is absolutely correct. I think there's honestly, I don't have a lot of question there.
Yeah, no. So number 1 for the end of the season, I'm giving the 49ers. Number 2 is gonna go to the Saints. The Saints aren't really playing anybody for the rest of the season, correct? They play the Colts, Titans, and Panthers. So
yeah, I can see them winning out.
So with that, I think the Saints will get number 2. The Packers could potentially drop 1 to the Vikings. I'd like to see that. It's a fight in Minnesota.
Honestly, I see the Packers and Vikings. I think I've said before I could see them both winning. I think I picked the Packers to win out. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I can see both of those teams dropping at least one, whether it's the one to each other or the one to someone else. But not to the Lions. That is for sure.
Nobody
Maybe
should
the
lose
Bears.
To the Lions.
Maybe the Bears will do it.
Love to see that. But number 3, you gotta go with the Packers. The number 3 are pretty much set, except for the 49ers or the Seahawks. That could go either way. Number 4.
I'll have to host now. Number 4. So I know you guys are semi-biased, but what's the take?
Semi-biased.
What's the take? Eagles or Cowboys?
I personally, and I'm sure I think Evan agrees. And this is, I know it doesn't matter what I say when I say it's not going to be biased, but I do. I just think the Eagles have shown more that they can do it than the Cowboys have, which is not saying a lot because if you watch either of these teams, they have not showed that they could do really anything.
But so you look at it, the Eagles play the Redskins, Cowboys, and Giants.
Yes, that's what it comes down to because the Cowboys play the Rams.
If the Cowboys drop this game to the Rams, that sets the Eagles up perfectly.
Yeah.
That'll push the Eagles as long as the Eagles beat the
Cowboys
Redskins.
Game is at home.
It's
the best time to play them at home, which I don't think that matters as much because we have home field advantage as much as they don't have home field advantage.
That's very true.
So that's what's good. And yeah, I just think
the Rams really need to do us a solid, beat the Cowboys. The Eagles need to do what they did against the Giants in the second half, beat the Redskins, welcome the Cowboys into the link, and then take care of them, and then go into MetLife and beat the Giants. Boom.
Yeah, I'm going Eagles there. And then, but I think one thing that is for sure is no matter which NFC East team gets in there, they will lose in the first round.
Yeah, because
I have zero question with that because I think the Bengals could beat these teams.
Yeah, the Eagles the Eagles be number 4, so they'd be playing number 5, which would
they get to play at home.
Seahawks.
So
Seattle would be coming back into the link after beating them 17-9.
it's going to
and the
be
Eagles would have
an
no
NFC
receivers.
West team
Again.
that could basically okay. What's fun about this is whoever's second in the NFC West is someone that could probably win any other division, and they're gonna go into Philly or Jerry World as being like this.
It's like this is
it's just gonna be
this is a
interesting.
pointless game.
So something I thought was about this NFC West brawl. I was like, when I was doing my brackets, I can see those two teams matching up again in the NFC Championship. Could you imagine? I think that would just be the cherry on top of this season and how it's gone between these two teams if it gets down to the biggest game and it's them again. And I just know both of these teams have to be like totally
difficult.
tired of the other team.
Because the 49ers would be 1. The Rams would be, or the Seahawks would be 5. Meaning,
Seahawks
meaning that the number 6 seed would have to beat the number 3 team. Number 3 seed team.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. Because
just pray for the Vikings to be better than the Seahawks.
Yeah. The number 1 ranked team will always play the lower ranked team. So the both wild card teams, like the number 5 and 6 teams that didn't win their division, would have to win that game for the 49ers and Seahawks to meet in the NFC Championship.
It's kind of funny looking at that though, because all the fights, all the beef they've had before. Considering most of these players are gone, the Legion of Boom is gone. Players like, Kaepernick, Patrick Willis, Vernon Davis, Michael Crabtree, those are all gone.
Returning are like Joe Staley and Russell Wilson. Those are like the only guys from those teams.
And Richard Sherman switching teams.
That would be is interesting.
Bobby Wagner's still there.
I think we'd all agree that I do think one of those two teams is going to end up. I think that it's really going to be one of the NFC West teams.
One of the NFC
Saints.
West teams are going to be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. And I'd like,
so? But I think I was going to say in the NFC Championship game though, it's going to be one of the NFC West teams versus the Saints.
I think so.
And we see the Saints missing
I think that makes
out
sense.
again.
Some PI.
I don't know. The Saints are a team that I think right now I wouldn't think very highly of them in the playoffs, but I think that they're a team that will look different in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make? Yeah, I think they're going to come and be like.
The Saints haven't had a tough schedule. They really haven't.
I'm not so high on them. Except I think that they might end up looking even better in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just have one of those playoff changers.
I don't think the Saints have played hard teams.
Is that we think we got for picks? So I think we'll just currently go with the Niners as 1, and the Seahawks is 5. But I think what we're just gonna all agree on here is that anything can happen. I don't. Is there any other? I think what we've just decided here is that the NFC is a mess.
49ers 1, Saints 2, Packers 3, Eagles 4, Seahawks 5, Vikings 6.
Super Bowl picks? Question mark matchup. Who wins?
We'll probably be back by then.
Yeah. I will say I think the Ravens go. And I don't know. That's too far. My brain is already melted just looking at who makes the playoffs. Let alone who makes it.
The Ravens and 49ers. That was a good game. That was a great regular season game, right down to the wire. Finished very good. I wouldn't mind seeing that in the Super Bowl again. But, again, we don't know how Lamar is going to do. Last time Lamar was in the playoffs, he got steamrolled by the Chargers.
Yes, that's the fun thing about trying to predict is literally anything could happen. So
so he's got the experience in the playoffs. We're going to do a 2-minute warning real quick of the MVP race that we think. It's not going to take 2 minutes. It's going to be Lamar.
Do you think that matters, though? What if he does get steamrolled in the playoffs? Let's just say, what if?
Regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, you think so? You think that won't? I know that, but don't you think it would still sort of affect their thought process? I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm just making.
I think the voting's right after regular season. That's the thing.
Oh, is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not really sure how the voting works for it.
Yeah, I think Lamar all the way, and I think he should be, because of just all he's done. Just what else to say? He's carried his team. He's just broken records left and right.
Broke all of Mike
just
Vick's
changed the
rushing
league,
records
honestly.
He is playing phenomenal football, and it's not going to be a difficult call for them. They're going to look at what he's done, look at the stats he's put up, the wins he has, the highlight plays, all of that, it's going to be Lamar. Russ Wilson was his only competition, and he dug his own grave.
Something I want to bring up, though, is the fact that there is a history of the team that wins the MVP does not win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they are
So
they
is
are
that
winless.
Scary.
You don't want to be named MVP and go to
Because-
the Super Bowl. It don't work.
Yeah, I mean, Brady was MVP when he lost to the Eagles. And Cam Newton was MVP when they lost to the Broncos. And so on.
Peyton Manning was it Peyton that year they lost to the Seahawks? I forget.
I don't know.
Matt Ryan was MVP and they lost. It was
Yeah,
mess.
so it's a little...
like, you don't want to be MVP in the Super Bowl.
But I think Lamar's a shoo-in, so I think it's a little scary. But there's always time, streaks are meant to be broken.
Yeah, so the only way to break that streak is win MVP and just don't go to the Super Bowl.
Young Wei Koo, baby.
The last time a kicker won the freaking MVP was like 1970
This
something.
is why
It's happened before.
I've said this
He
on the
won.
show before, and I
the
want to
dude
say it
kicked
again.
like 40 field goals.
They need like an MVP award for every position.
Isn't that kind of like first team All-American before?
Well, I think they
have,
need to do
all
it
NFL
special
first team.
and do it at the awards.
Let's see. Kicker, Mark Mosley, 1982.
You must
Yeah,
be
I was very close,
You
actually.
must be a very good place kicker to be MVP.
He got,
of the
I think he
league.
kicked like 37 of 37 field goals. They chose him over a wide
There's
receiver.
a lot of Packers on the MVP list.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like,
Go Pack.
never.
Special fact. Special fact. Mark Mosley, the only kicker to win the NFL MVP award, goes to Stephen F. Austin. The team that beat Duke 2 weeks ago, over Thanksgiving. Let's just put it that way.
It's all a conspiracy.
Time is a little bit murky right now in my head.
It's all a conspiracy. But that'll pretty much wrap it up here for
I
us,
think
right?
we covered everything. I think we're
we
going
got
off out on a good
a
note.
lot of information. We will not be able to talk to you guys until after Christmas break.
We'll be previewing a Super Bowl by then.
We
I think.
gonzo, yeah. So that's pretty much playoffs. That's why we did all of this right now, because we're not going to be able to talk to you guys. Big sad face. But it's been an hour. Thank you for listening if you have. I mean, more credit, more power to you.
It's not like 1:48 for my soccer pod, so y'all are right.
Thanks for tuning in. For
You
Evan.
did a whole hour and 48 minutes on that? That's insane.
We don't talk about
We don't
soccer
talk
here.
about the other football.
This is
So,
great football.
Yeah, for Evan Lasek and Ryan Lam, I'm Kelly Warner. Thanks for tuning in.
Goodbye.
Thank you for watching our latest edition of Penn State Sports Night. If you're a fan of our content, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips. Also follow us on Twitter at PSSNTV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with the action. For all my colleagues, we are Penn State Sports Night.